This is the Wikipedia page for automatic writing. You're listening to the podcast where we read Wikipedia pages and provide commentary. Welcome to WikiListen. I'm Victor Varnado, KSN.
And I'm Rachel Teichman, LMSW.
Automatic writing is a type of paranormal thing that happens. It's supposed to be psychic abilities. I've actually never seen somebody try to do this, but I've heard about it. How about you, Rachel?
I have heard of this. I don't know much about it, but it sounds like pretty basic psychology.
Psychology?
Yeah. I have not read this article, but I have a strong feeling that it is strongly psychological in nature and not paranormal.
All right, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Let's get started. Automatic writing. Automatic writing, also called psychography, is a claimed psychic ability allowing a person to produce written words without consciously writing. Scientists and skeptics consider automatic writing to be the result of the ideomotor effect, and even proponents of automatic writing admit it has been the source of innumerable cases of self-delusion. Automatic writing is not the same thing as free writing.
History. Early history. Spirit writing, later called Fuji planchette writing, has a long tradition in China where messages from various deities and spirits were received by mediums since the Song dynasty. In the 19th century, messages received through spirit writing led to the foundation of several Chinese salvationist religions. The spread of Chinese cultural techniques, such as printing and painting, introduced the influence of spirit writing, practiced by Japanese Zen Obaku monks who were said to communicate with an ancient Taoist sage credited with creation of the Kung Fu system.
In the West, an early example of the practice is the 16th century Inukian language, allegedly dictated to John Dee and Edward Kelly by Inukian angels and integral to the practice of Inukian magic. The language is said to be extremely detailed and complex, with its own grammar and rules. Dee also claimed that the Inukian instruction included information regarding the elixir of life in the ruins of Glastonbury Abbey.
Parapsychologist William Fletcher Barrett wrote that automatic messages may take place either by the writer passively holding a pencil on a sheet of paper, or by the planchette, or by a Ouija board. In spiritualism, spirits are claimed to take control of the hand of a medium to write messages, letters, and even entire books. Automatic writing can happen in a trance or waking state. Some psychical researchers, such as Thompson J. Hudson, have claimed no spirits are involved in automatic writing and the subconscious mind is the explanation. What did I say?
You said that it was a psychology thing.
Yes, I did.
Well, anything can be linked back to psychology because it all has to do with the mind and thinking, right? So like everything. Anyway, paranormal investigator Harry Price exposed the supposed automatic writing in the Borley Rectory as the wall scrawling of a housewife attempting to hide an extramarital affair.
A prominent alleged example of automatic writing is the Brattleboro Hoax. When Charles Dickens died in 1870, he left The Mystery of Edwin Drood unfinished. According to the itinerant printer T.P. James, this angered Dickens' spirit so much that he channeled the rest of the novel through James's hand. This is supposed to have begun on Christmas Eve 1872 and continued in thrice weekly sessions until completion.
Automatic writing as a spiritual practice was reported by Hippolyta Taine in the preface of the third edition of De Intelligence, published in 1878. Besides ethereal visions or magnetic auras, Fernando Pessoa claimed to have experienced automatic writing. He said he felt owned by something else, sometimes feeling a sensation in the right arm he claimed was lifted into the air without his will. Georgie Hyde Lees, the wife of William Butler Yeats, also claimed she could write automatically. Sri Aurobindo and his follower, the mother Mira Alfasa, regularly practiced automatic writing.
Shortly after his 1917 marriage to Georgie Hyde Lees, the poet W.B. Yeats came to be heavily influenced by her delving into what they referred to as the automatic script.
Arthur Conan Doyle, in his book The New Revelation 1918, wrote that automatic writing occurs either by the writer's subconscious or by external spirits operating through the writer. Doyle and his wife led an automatic writing seance with Harry Houdini, where Lady Doyle wrote 15 pages of purported messages from Houdini's mother, although this information was immediately discounted as fraudulent by Houdini.
The essay The Automatic Message, 1933, first published in the magazine Minotaur, number 3-4, Paris, was one of André Breton's significant theoretical works about automatism. In 1919, Breton and Philippe Soupeau had used what later became the Surrealist automatism method to compose Les Champs Magnétiques, the magnetic fields. In 1997, the magnetic fields was also the title of a compilation of surrealist writing of André Breton, Paul Oulard, Philippe Soupeau, and others. It included the authorized translation of Breton's The Automatic Message in English by the poet David Gascoigne, whose Man's Life is This Meat, 1936, a collection of his own surrealist writings and translations of the French surrealists, and Holderlin's Madness, 1938, established Gascoigne's reputation as one of a small group of English surrealists. Gascoigne's 1935 A Short Survey of Surrealism for the 1936 London International Surrealist Exhibition also expanded the movement to the English-speaking world. The surrealist poet Robert Desnos claimed he was among the most gifted in automatic writing. Surrealist automatists, most notably André Masson, adapted these methods to art making, in which the artist suppresses conscious control over the making process, allowing the unconscious mind to have great sway. Prior to the surrealists, Dadaists such as Hans Arp made some use of this method through chance operations.
The medium Pierre L.O.A. Keeler had an alleged spirit-writing communication from Abraham Lincoln, currently exhibited at the Lilydale Museum. Despite Lincoln being a well-known skeptic and Keeler having been known to employ magicians' tricks, this is used as one of the many examples of skeptics purportedly endorsing spiritualism posthumously. Skeptical investigator Joe Nickel, who made a detailed examination of the spirit writing, concluded it had no resemblance to Lincoln's handwriting and described the message as bogus.
There was an apocalyptic cult led by a lapsed Scientologist named Dorothy Martin. She and her followers were waiting for an alien ship to take them to the non-existent planet Clarion and save them from a worldwide flood that was to commence at midnight on December 20th, 1954. When that did not occur, Martin allegedly got an automatic writing message from God calling the whole thing off.
Very convenient. And God's like, sorry, bro.
Too bad.
In 1975, Wendy Hart of Maidenhead claimed she wrote automatically about Nicholas Moore, a sea captain who died in 1642. Also, in 1975, the CIA attempted to employ remote viewing through the Stargate project in the spring of 1989. Angela Della Fiora, a member of Stargate Project's remote viewing unit, claimed to be guided by spirits moving her hand in writing responses about the location of a fugitive DEA agent named Charlie Jordan. In reviewing the matter, Joe Nickel states, the Charlie Jordan case, touted as one of the most successful examples in the U.S. government's psychic spying project, is not convincing evidence of anything save perhaps folly. It also illustrates the limitations of anecdotal evidence, conflicting versions, selective reporting, and lack of documentation, together with additional manifestations of faulty memory bias and other human foibles.
David Icke said he first became aware of being son of the Godhead via automatic writing. Vasula Ryden claims to receive and transcribe messages from her guardian angel Daniel, Jesus, Yahweh. She has provoked both skepticism and credulity from Catholic laity and clergy, as well as the skeptical community at large. Alleged cases of automatic writing have included Joseph Smith, Patience Worth, Aleister Crowley, Jane Roberts, Helen Schuckman, and Neil Donald Walsh. Crowley, for instance, compiled the collected works over time, which included the Book of the Law as well as transcripts of his visions of the first two Inukian ethers.
Scientific analysis and skepticism. Scientists and skeptics consider automatic writing to be the result of the ideomotor effect.
According to skeptical investigator Joe Nickell, automatic writing is produced while one is in a dissociated state. It is a form of motor automatism or unconscious muscular activity. Neurologist Terence Hines has written automatic writing as an example of a milder form of a dissociative state. In 1900, Swiss psychologist Theodore Flournoy studied the case of the French medium Helene Smith, particularly her handwriting during seances. He concluded that the automatic writing phenomenon was an effect of autosuggestion produced by auto-hypnotization, leading to the emergence of a secondary self. See, I believe that this is like part of a dissociative state because people with dissociative identity disorder will have different forms of handwriting.
Okay, sounds good. Paranormal researcher Ben Radford writes in his 2017 book, Investigating Ghosts, that there is no real way to know if the writing is coming from outside their bodies. You must take their word for it because the source of the information is at issue and the medium cannot be validated. We must turn to the content of the material. Various psychic mediums have claimed to channel famous dead people like Susan Lander, who claimed that Betsy Ross contacted her to say, "I am gay and I fly the flag of pride and liberty for all of us." Radford states that historians say that there is no credible historical evidence that Ross either made or had a hand in designing the American flag. Without some kind of validation, anyone can claim to communicate with the spirit of anyone. Radford states that it would seem to be easier for the ghost to communicate by voice than by controlling a pen, considering spelling and grammar are more difficult. Automatic writing should logically hinder, not help, spirit communication.
That is some logic. Scientific studies. In an 1890 paper on hypnotism, Morton Prince claims automatic writing is not a purely unconscious reflex act, but the product of conscious individuality, and further claims that the hand that is writing is under the control of a separate hypnotic personality during trances. Physician Charles Arthur Mercier, in the British Medical Journal, 1894, criticized the spiritualist interpretation of automatic writing, concluding, "There is no need nor room for the agency of spirits, and the invocation of such agency is the sign of a mind not merely unscientific, but uninformed."
I love when, like, these quotes are just slights at people, just like, anybody who disagrees with me, you're a dummy. Just want you to know.
Love it.
Psychology professor Theodore Flournoy investigated the claim by 19th century medium Helene Smith, Catherine Mueller. She did automatic writing to convey messages from Mars in Martian language. Flournoy concluded her Martian language had a strong resemblance to Miss Smith's native language of French, and her automatic writing was romances of the subliminal imagination derived largely from forgotten sources, for example, books read as a child. He invented the term cryptomnesia to describe this phenomenon.
In 1927, psychiatrist Harold Dearden wrote that automatic writing is a psychological method of tapping the unconscious mind, and there is nothing mysterious about it.
In 1986, A.B. Joseph investigated 2 female patients who were found to exhibit ictal hypergraphia.
Automatic writing behavior was discovered by Dilek Eviapin and Emmer Kumral in 3 patients with right hemispheric damage.
A 2012 study of 10 psychographers using single photon emission computed tomography showed differences in brain activity and writing complexity during alleged trance states versus normal state writing.
Pop culture and media. Automatic writing is touted by Medium Bonnie Page in a Sentinel and Enterprise article as a method of accessing claircognizance abilities.
Automatic writing is featured prominently in the 1961 episode of Perry Mason, The Case of the Meddling Medium.
Portions of Van Morrison's album Astral Weeks supposedly are inspired by dreams, reveries, and automatic writing.
Czech director Jan Swankmajer claims he concocted the screenplay for his hybrid film Insect, HMYZ, in a fit of automatic writing.
William S. Burroughs has described his book Naked Lunch as automatic writing gone horribly wrong and believed he found his subconscious taken over by a hostile entity.
In an interview in GQ, David Byrne indicated an interest in automatic writing due to the influence of Brian Eno. If you go to the page, there is also a gallery of automatic writing samples that you can check out.
My therapist senses are tingling.
Oh yeah, you're just like, these people, they don't know what they're doing. They just have some sort of psychological problem that I can heal with my brain magic.
I don't think it's necessarily a problem.
You don't think so? You don't think that somebody believing that a spirit is moving their arm to write is a problem?
Not necessarily.
Okay, well, I mean, that, probably could use some further discussion, but maybe this isn't the podcast for it.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, nah. This has been the Wikipedia page for automatic writing. If you'd like us to read a Wikipedia page, let us know. Thanks for listening to WikiListen. To support the show, go to patreon.com/WikiListenPodcast and find us on social media at WikiListen and at